Hi guys, so I am here to record this video for you guys. I tried to record this video earlier and I tried to record it on June 22nd because June 22nd was Octavia Butler's birthday, but it just didn't happen that way. I'm recording on my phone. I have my headphones in because I think with my headphones in, the volume kind of sounds a little better, so I hope you can hear me well. And I'm kind of like shouting and talking really loud, so I hope you can hear me really well. Because I recorded this video and then I have to record it again because I could not hear anything. Hopefully you can hear me. So the purpose of this video was to pay homage to Octavia Butler on June 22nd, which was her birthday. But since we missed that day, it's still to pay homage to her because she is hands down the queen, goddess, mother of everything Afrofuturism. As it pertains to books, and she is hands down my favorite author in that genre of all times. And so I wanted to come in and kind of give you guys my book recommendations by Octavia Butler because why not? And just, share that part with you guys. Like, I really love books. I love reading. I love the way that you can kind of like escape into reading, escape into those words on the page, and just like find yourself, imagination becoming alive and active in a way that you don't really normally get to experience because the world is so visual and we live in this social media heavy world where you really do see everything visually. It's like right in front of you all the time. And so sometimes you don't really get to like use your imagination. It's not, you don't get to like paint the pictures in your mind about what it might look like because it's already there in front of you everywhere. So when I read books, I get to use my imagination in a way that I normally don't get to. And I really love that. One of the reasons why I really love Afrofuturism is because, one, I relate to the characters more because they are Black characters. They're just so relatable for me. And I really love feel like I can relate to a character. And I love the fact that it's science fiction, it's sci-fi. It's so much like, it's so many like aspects of what could potentially be in the future and what things that may not ever actually really happen, but it's just so fun to think about. It's just a really cool genre for me. I really love Afrofuturism. It really is one of my favorites. So the first recommendation I'm going to give to you guys is definitely a classic by Octavia Butler. If you have read any Octavia Butler book, it's probably been this one. So this one is The Parable of the Sower by Octavia Butler. This is hands down a classic book. This is the first Octavia Butler book I've ever read. I got introduced to this book in undergraduate when I was like a sophomore. I was in a literature class, and the professor who I really liked at the time, she required us to read this book. And so I got this book, and when I first started reading it, I wasn't really paying attention to it. I'm like, whatever. But then as we started to do classroom discussions and people were talking about the book, and I'm like, that sounds pretty interesting. I might want to read it for real. And so I really got into it and I started reading it and I was like, oh my God, it's awesome. So it really was awesome. And like, it really is a really, really great book. So this is the first book that I definitely recommend that you read by Octavia Butler. So going right along with The Parable of the Sower is the second part to this series, which is The Parable of the Talents. So this is the 2-book series. After you read this one, you can move on to The Parable of the Talents, and this will give you that closure that you was looking for from part 1. So definitely read Parable of the Sower and Parable of the Talents. Then I recommend that you read Kindred. I don't have Kindred, like the physical copy of the book, with me, but Kindred is definitely a classic by Octavia Butler, and it's a really, really, really good read. So I definitely recommend that you read that book. Wild Seed. Now, this is the latest book that I've read from her, and I read it so quickly. It was so good. And I'm not going to get into detail about any of these books in particular. I'm not going to talk about the characters. I'm not going to talk about anything particular about these books because this is just a book recommendation video, just to give you guys some ideas of what books you might I like, and books that you might want to go pick up and read if you're interested in this genre. So this is just a recommendation video. However, if you guys are interested in any one of these books in particular, and you want me to kind of like talk about that book and dedicate a video to that book, I will do that, but you got to let me know which books you want. So Wild Seed, and then after Wild Seed is the Fledgling by Octavia Butler. All these books are really phenomenal reads, like really good reads. There was not one book that I was like, man, this is not really all that good. One of the things I really love about Octavia Butler books is that she challenges your thinking. She makes you uncomfortable, but she entertains you all at the same time. Her books touch a variety of topics like sexism, racism, ageism, gender, sexuality, incest, bestiality. I don't know what you call it when you cross creatures like aliens and humans. I don't know. It talks about social class, social position, wealth, distribution of wealth, economic disparities. It talks about education. It hits on almost every social issue there is, which is one of the reasons why I think I'm really drawn to it, because my background is in sociology and I really love talking about and reading about social issues and social problems and potential fixes to those problems. Of course, her fixes are all sci-fi related, but still there's a lot of truth in her books. So I really love that about her books. This book is called Clay's Ark by Octavia Butler. And it's definitely a really, really, really good read. This was like a very interesting one. It took very interesting turns for me. And then the next 3 books is a series of books. These are the Xenogenesis Series, and it's a 3-part book series. So you definitely can't read one without the other. You have to read all 3. So the first one is Dawn, the second one is Adult Rights, and the third one is Imago or Imago, however you pronounce it. But this is the 3-book series right here. So those are my Octavia Butler books that I recommend that you guys definitely pick up and read, because they are very great books, very well written books. So let's get into some other books. 3 other books that I have to recommend for you guys that are not by Octavia Butler, but I kind of like fell into them because of Octavia Butler. So this book kept floating around. You know how Google and Amazon and all those people like to advertise to you when they see what you like or what you're looking at a lot. So this book kept popping up and popping up and popping up and popping up. And the title of the book and the cover of the book caught my attention. And I was ignoring it at first, but then I was like, I wonder what this book is about. So I didn't read anything about it. I didn't even really read any reviews or anything about it. I just grabbed the book. And I'm so glad that I grabbed this book, because this book was really good. And I definitely recommend that you guys read this book. It's definitely worth the read. It's a really good book. And yeah, when I read it, it made me emotional. It's really good. And after I read it, I kind of like saw who Tony Adeyemi is. And she really is a rising star. And I looked for the second part to this book, and it's not coming out till next year. And I'm like, oh, I gotta wait till next year to get it. But I look forward, or maybe it's coming out at the end of this year. I think it's coming out at the end of this year in October. I don't know, but it's not out yet. So I'm looking forward to reading that part. But I think that they might be making a series or a movie or something about this book. And I can't wait. I hope they are, because it's so good. So the second book from a different author who is still of the same genre is this book. And this book is called Akata Witch, and it's written by Nnedi Okorafor. And I'm not sure if I pronounced that right, but you know. So this book is really good. So this book kind of popped up after I read Children of Blood and Bone. It kind of popped up on my like what recommendations from Amazon. And the title and the cover also caught my attention. But for this book, I read the back of the book, the synopsis. I also listened to like the first few pages on Amazon before I ordered it, and I was like, definitely grabbing this book. So I grabbed it, I read it from cover to cover, and it was definitely 100% a really great read. Definitely recommend that you get this book. Definitely looking for more books by her. I am currently reading the second part to this book. The second part to this book, Akata Witch, is called Akata Warrior, and I'm currently reading this book, and I'm almost done with it. I'm trying to take my time with it because one of the things about reading really good books for me is that I don't really want to speed through it. I want to take my time and read it because I don't want it to be over. So I'm currently reading this book, and it's really good. So this is my final recommendation for like my Afrofuturism style books. I will definitely come in and make more videos like this because I have tons of books around me. So I definitely have more book recommendations than this. So if you are interested in any of these books, definitely go check them out. I will leave links in the description box where you can order these books. And I will definitely, if you want to hear more about any one of these books in particular, I will definitely be open to that. Just let me know which books. And I probably have to reread them, so it'll take me like maybe a week or so to get the video out, just to make sure it's fresh on my brain, so I can take notes and come in and talk to you guys about the books with spoilers. So I didn't want to have any spoilers in this video. So yeah, those are my book recommendations for you guys. Happy belated birthday to Octavia Butler, who is the greatest of all times, and thankfully because of her I got introduced to two new authors, which is Nnedi Okorafor and Tony Adeyemi. So I look forward to reading more and more authors from this genre, and I'm so happy to have like Black women authors who I really adore. So yeah, peace.